Okay, so morning again. So we're gonna start off the session with a quick reading from my devotional book that I treasure so much. So today's reading is let me just get myself here. Okay, so today's reading is quite beautiful. It's called Laughter. I'm just gonna put on my camera. Okay, so today's reading is called Laughter, which says it's defined as convulsive merriment, an expression of mirth peculiar to men. So what it says here is laughter is a surefire solution to discouragement. I encourage you to laugh a lot in life because laughter is one source we can always depend on to lift our spirits. It is like internal jogging, and it's actually very healthy for us. Maybe you're thinking, Joyce, there's nothing funny about life. If that is the case, then you do something funny yourself. Rent a funny movie or visit with someone you know who usually makes you laugh. I recently spent time with someone I don't normally spend time with and ended up laughing all evening. I remember thinking, I didn't know she was that funny, but I'm going to make it a habit to be around her more. So God has created us for work and play, not just work. Work, and more work. No. Fun and laughter bring restoration and rest to your soul. So a scripture here is taken out of the book of Excellenciensis, that word, chapter 3, verse 4. It says, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. So that's taken out of this book that I shared with you guys the last time. So today we will be talking about mental health. Like I mentioned the last time, that because of time, we could not talk so much about mental health. So today, that's what we're going to be doing. Let me just get my slides. Can you guys see my screen though? If you can just write in the chat. Can you see my screen?
Hi, Lida. We can see your video, but I'm not seeing the screen yet.
Okay, let me start sharing. I think that's what I need to share. Share. Okay, let's see. Okay, tell me if you can see my slides now.
We can now see, Lida.
Okay, super. So as I explained, we will be talking about mental health and mental well-being. I think this is a very important topic that is not given enough light and enough platforms, perhaps. I might be wrong, but that's what I've experienced. So mental health, and what is mental health exactly? So according to the CDC, Center of Disease Control, mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So it's a whole rounded thing. It's not just one thing. It literally affects how we think, how we feel, how we act, and it also determines how we handle stress relating to, and also how we relate to others and how we make choices, healthy choices. So mental health is important at every single stage of our lives, from inception through adolescence and up until our adulthood. It does, like it plays a role all the time, all the way throughout our lives. So why is it so important? You know, how is it important? How is it connected to our overall well-being? So our mental and physical health are equally important for our overall health as a person. Here's an example. If depression, like basically, if you have depression, it basically decreases or increases the risks of many types of physical health problems, particularly the long-lasting ones like your diabetes, your heart diseases, and the possibilities of stroke because of stress, for example, and depression, it can cause someone to have a stroke. Similarly, the presence of chronic conditions, if you have this long-lasting condition like your diabetes, your heart diseases, your strokes, it can increase the risk of also getting to a unhealthy mental well-being state. So mental health we've spoken about. So what causes mental illness exactly? I want to move this, just let me see how I can move it. So yes, you might be asking what causes mental illness. I'll take this away now. So mental illness, well, there is no single cause of mental illness, right? There's a number of factors that contribute to the risk of mental illness, and this we'll discuss shortly. Just a disclaimer, guys, I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not somebody who is an expert in mental health or mental illness. I'm just really an advocate of it because I too have had my share of battles with it. And hence I have spent a lot of time studying it, reading up about it, a lot has happened, and hence I'm able to speak about it and know how it really affects a person, how it relates to us as people. So, as I said, there's no real, just a single cause of mental illness, So, things like, childhood experiences, if you experience trauma or you have a history of abuse, maybe as a child you were abused, you're sexually assaulted, you witnessed violence, you were bullied, that can play into your mental well-being. It could have an impact on your mental well-being. If you experience relate to ongoing things like chronic diseases, your medical conditions such as cancer, diabetes, that can also lead someone into a mental state, like depression. Other things, and this is a big major one that people are not aware of, sometimes it's biological factors or chemical imbalances in the brain. It doesn't necessarily have to be you having gone through stuff like that, I can attest that I grew up in a very loving family. I didn't have any bullying. There was no abuse of any sort, but hey, I ended up being depressed and stuff like that. But that will delve into just after this. So also the use of alcohol and drug abuse can also potentially lead to mental illness of some sort. Sometimes when you have feelings of loneliness or just isolation, that too can play a role. And yes, another big factor that is prone to us in our adulthood is basically burnout and stress. These are real stuff, and I can attest that I have had quite a few burnouts that have led me into a state of depression. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, mental illness and suicidal stats. Let's talk about the stats because I think stats sort of gives us a perspective to things, So you would not believe this, but in Namibia alone, right? Men are taking their own lives at a higher rate than women. Since last year, that being 2022, about 559 men have died by suicide. So this is a source taken out of the Namibian newspaper. And the rise has really been incredibly scary. We have quite a few men that are committing suicide on a daily basis. Like It's incredible. I personally know of about 3 men that committed suicide, and this happened just before their weddings, like a day before their wedding, a week before their wedding. So yeah, it's mysterious, it's intriguing, and at the same time, it's just very worrisome, very scary. Why is it happening, you know? So according to statistics related to our Ministry of Health and Social Services here in Namibia, our country's suicide rate between January 2021 and May 2022 stood at a shocking number of 679. Now, this will be shocking for Namibia because, as you might or might not know, Namibia is quite a small country. We have up to uh, we're going to 3 million, maybe 2.5 million. We don't have that many people, so the rates are quite high. So of this 679, 559 were men and 91 women, including 29 children. So this is in the same period where 18 boys and 11 girls took their lives. Basically, these are underage kids that took their lives because, like I said, what are the causes of mental health and stuff like that, or mental illnesses? So another set says that in the USA, one person takes their lives every 11 minutes, you know. So suicidal ideation or the experience of having suicidal thoughts and urges is often common there. And it's estimated that millions of people consider suicide. They plan a suicide attempt or they have attempted suicide or are suicide survivors. So um it is quite an alarming stats. And this just goes to show that everybody is fighting battles. We don't always know what someone is going through, but there are people really fighting battles that only their four walls and four corners of their houses or place of dwelling know what is happening there. So that's why I'm always an advocate of being kind to everyone we meet, being kind to your neighbor, being kind, because you never know. Maybe that kindness is just the last sign that that person needed. You know, if you treated them bad, you sweared at them, you whatever, that could have just led them to the edge of them actually ending their life. You never know. So I always advocate for kindness because I think that with kindness, this world would be a better place. Um, see. Okay, so causes of suicide. We spoke about causes of mental illness. Now we're looking at suicide specifically. So one of the main reasons of suicide is basically mental illness, right? So these are mental health conditions such as your depression, you know, substance use disorder, you know, the abuse of alcohol and drugs, and also most commonly they are associated to suicide. However, there are other conditions like anxiety disorders, eating disorders, and also personality trait disorders can increase the risk of suicide. So another reason could be a history of trauma. Like I mentioned, experiencing trauma can really have a significant impact on anyone at any age, you know. But childhood trauma is one significant long-term risk factor for suicide. So trauma impact people in a very long time into your adult years, you know, causing challenges like you could have PTSD, which is basically post-traumatic stress disorder. And then you can also lead into depression. You could also lead into low self-esteem, shame, and isolation. Those are all things that can factor in. Also, feelings of hopelessness, you know. People who are suicidal basically feel hopeless. They are very pessimist. They are always talking about negative stuff. They're pessimist about their future. Although it's a typical experience, an occasional feeling of hopelessness, people at risk for suicide are more likely experiencing rumination, meaning that they may get stuck or on repetitive negative feelings or having recurring thoughts about death. That's very common. So feeling like a burden to other people in life, like they don't belong anywhere in the world, and basically that are just basically two powerful reasons why people would consider uh, ending their lives. Another one is, if your circumstances change, for example, you're facing legal challenges, you lose your job, you have overwhelming financial troubles. And sometimes it's not that overwhelming, but because you played so much in your head, it could be one of the risk factors. And also, if you're going through a breakup or you're losing a significant relationship in your life, maybe somebody died, like that can also lead to suicidal thoughts and possible attempt. And then also identity. This is something, although not common in our Black communities. It is common elsewhere, whereby someone questions their gender, their race, sexual orientation, and all that, basically their age, while women attempt suicide more often than men, men actually die more by suicide at higher rates, across all genders. So most of the suicide occurs between the ages of 35, more or less. Like that's like your midlife crisis, so they say. Yeah, so but although they are age related, the risks differ, and this is across the different ethnicities. So yes, now that we've had a little brief introduction of what mental health is, mental illness and stuff like that, here's my personal story and journey that I would like to share with you about my mental health. So as I explained, I had a very happy childhood. I had not experienced any bullying at school. I was loved at home, and there was a lot of love going on at home. However, after I completed my varsity at work, my first job, that's where I came face to face with bullying. So I basically started work when I was how old? I was 23 years old. I was heading a department by that age, straight from school, no experience, but I was very lucky to be in a position to be a head of a department. But with that also came challenges because I was the youngest, the only youngest one in the whole department, and at that level, I was also the only one with a degree in that department and across the management. Yeah, I think. So I was a target of bullying because people were intimidated by this small girl coming out of varsity with her degree, and she thinks she knows it all, and we've been in this company for 20, 30 years, and how does she just land such a job? It wasn't my fault, but I did get picked on for that. But with bullying then came bullying sort of affected my self-esteem, because this man who was like 20 years older than me would always come and pick on me. They would always be like, yeah, Lucia, why this, why that, why this, do you even know what you're doing? You're gonna fail, you're gonna make, I used to, because I headed the department, I had a very important role to play in terms of certification and accreditation. So in order for us to get certified in food safety, because I worked for food processing company. So and he made me scared, like, you're gonna make us fail the audits, and our company is gonna close down because of a girl like you. That played on me so much that I decided that I was going to literally sleep in the office to make sure that doesn't happen. So I burned out. I would wake up, I'll be the first at work, the last to leave. So I'll go to work every morning before 7, or just a little after 7, and then I would leave the office, I kid you not, after 12, after 1. In that time I was still very new, so at that hour, maybe it's 1 or 3, there will be no cabs, so I would walk home. So even that, I put my life at risk because I wanted to prove a point that no, I can do this. So it led to burnout. And with that burnout, I was lucky that I had a very strong support system. My friends, my family, they were always there. And I keep saying I was very lucky as well that my sister studied psychology. And because she studied psychology, she had a circle of friends that are psychologists. So I wasn't short of help. I would always, today I'll speak to this one friend of my sister, tomorrow I'll speak to this one, depending on who I'm comfortable with talking about which subject. So I had a range of support. So with that time, my work-life balance was really off. It was more work than play. I would always be at the office on weekends, well into the night while people are at the beach having fun because it's a coastal town. Over a weekend having a braai, I was stuck at the office trying to prove a point to who exactly. Yeah, no, that is a question on its own. So that was really hard, but yeah. So with that, what happened was, I luckily I got referred to seek help, professional help. So I went to see a psychologist, a therapist who sort of helped me see the logic, versus the illogic thoughts that I was having in terms of I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, just because somebody says I wasn't, although I was putting in the work. So after a few years of working, I decided I wanted to go back to school and get my master's degree. So I applied, I got into a really good university in Scotland, in the Northern Isles of Scotland. It was a island called Orkney in a town called Stromness. So you can imagine being abroad in an international field school with a lot of French speaking Norwegians, Americans, Canadians, uh, you name it. We were a bunch of international students, and me being from Namibia, I'm thinking to myself, me with my small degree, will I even, So that also spiraled down into a rabbit hole where I was constantly depressed, constantly stressed. I didn't even enjoy my time abroad. Like, I kid you not, only I think the second half, I really enjoyed a little bit time of my studies and my time abroad. I got to travel a little bit, got to attend some concerts. I was even lucky to attend Beyonce's On the Run 2 concert in Glasgow. That was 2018. And yeah, so but it was a lot of work. Mentally, it was a lot of work. But so I came back. After I came back, I came to back to the same environment, because when I went to school, my company sort of sponsored me because they wanted me to still be part of the company because they were recognizing my good work over the years. So yeah, I came back in the same environment, and the same man was still there, still breathing down my neck, even with your master's. Now it even made it worse because now you have a master's. Now this girl has a master's. Why? So it really spiraled down, and but luckily when I came, my boss then decided to promote me to manager. So with that promotion came a move, and so I had to move from my beautiful town or city with all my friends and family that I love so much. Okay, we have 10 minutes. I am going to wrap it up. So yeah, I was in a city where I had so much friends, so much love, so much support, and I was moving to an isolated town down deep south where I now stay. So I came from a factory of about 50 workers to a factory of about 2,000 workers. Pause for a minute to understand this, because yeah. Then so under my leadership, when I was at my previous job, I had, say, 11 people under me. I came here to have about 50 to 60 people under me. Yeah, that's a lot for someone who yeah, who's coming from a very small factory. Okay, fast forward, the first year was really hard, like really, really hard. I kid you not, it was one of the hardest years of my life. Why? Because that bullying that I got from my first year trickled down into uh m me, doubting my capabilities of running a 2,000 people factory with 50 people under me. I could not fathom it. Like, I had doubts, as much as I was trying. And I think one thing that also did not help was my perfectionism, because I'm a perfectionist. I like things going right all the time. I don't understand why things should go wrong. So that in itself also put a lot of pressure on my mental state. So I went into a big depression. So much so that it led me into a mental institution. Yes, folks, my name is Lusia, hi, and I was admitted into a mental institution in 2000 and 2020, basically. That was also the year of COVID and a lot was happening. And yeah, I got institutionalized into but a very nice healthcare place where I had constant support, constant counseling and stuff like that. And it really helped, by the way. It really helped because here I am today. So that was in 2020. And then, I continued and then I then experienced another form of bullying from a senior. She was my former boss. We swapped places. And yeah, so she had her way of making me feel small. So that also caused another trauma to my life. And that was towards end of 2020, getting into 2021. So 2021, had another burnout and I was again admitted into another mental health institution for the second time in 3 years. Wow, what a record. But yeah, like I said, I have a very good support system. My sisters, her friends, they were always there to pick me up and, try and help me process my trauma and whatnot. But here I am today. I am now the head of the Novonym Foundation, our company foundation. I'm heading the corporate social responsibility and I'm also heading the environmental division. Yes, it's a lot to carry, but it also comes with a lot of support. So to date, I am still in therapy. Yes, hi, I'm still in therapy. Um, I have sessions every other month. Why am I in therapy at this age? And even after all that has happened and where I'm supposed to be now, to tell you the truth, for me, therapy is like, how you have a physical coach, for your fitness and stuff. I feel like my therapist is my mental coach. So they help me as I'm transitioning through my life, as I'm climbing ladders and I'm being met with a lot of oppression, like um a lot of challenges, a lot of, there's somebody who could still keep me keep me sane, for lack of a better word. So yes, I'm still going through therapy and I love it. I don't think I will stop going to therapy anytime soon because it really is helping me. It's helping me put things into perspective. It is helping me really just maneuver through this life and process emotions and feelings that I otherwise would not have been able to process by myself. So yeah, ways of taking care of yourself, of your mental well-being. This is from Derek Chu. This is something I took from Instagram, but I could really easily relate to it and I could attest that it does help. For example, what helps is walking or exercising. So after I went to therapy, I was asked to consider fitness, like gym or exercising, because your physical, like we said, physical plays a role into your mental. So I went to the gym and I'm still physically active. So I go to the gym a lot. And the reason why I do that is not for my physical, I can assure you that. But hey, you have the benefits, but it's more for my mental well-being. So, try and indulge in things that you love. Giving is also a very good way to take care of your mental health. You'd be surprised the pleasure. It depends, the pleasure of giving. I'm a giver, I'm a big giver, and it always gives me a lot of sense of a sense of just helping someone. It gives me a very great sense of just joy. Be silly, do something that you did as a child that you enjoyed doing. You're never too old to have that fun. Educate yourself, read, read, read. I keep saying read, 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 read. Know everything you need to know about everything, like anything. If you are feeling certain emotions, you can't put them into words, research it. Why do I feel that? Get to know yourself, write a today's list. Always have a to-do list. It helps put things into perspective. Write down a list of 20 of your strengths. What are you strong at, so that you are reminded. Another thing just to add here is that write down 10 things you're grateful for that you can read every single day. Then that will always remind you to be grateful. Keep taking small steps no matter what. Keep taking small step, keep getting up. If you get down, even in your business right now, if you get no's, I'm getting no's right now for my Forever Living business, but I keep getting up. If I get a no, I go to the next person. I don't just fold and that's it. And very important, get enough sleep. This is not something that is spoken about a lot, but sleep is necessary. Sleep is important for your well-being. You need to sleep. You need to rest. Cry if you have to. Crying helps. I'm a crybaby and it helps me. Check your self-talk. Are you being negative to yourself? Are you telling yourself silly things like you're not good enough, you're not doing enough? I used to do that and it didn't help. If you like, journal. Do a mental dump. Put it somewhere, but get it out of your head. Remind yourself of the value you have to offer in this world. Always remember that you are not here by mistake. What did Leader Veronica say? She said, it's not by chance. It's not by chance that you guys are also here listening to this talk that I'm giving. Okay. Sometimes you can just sit at a coffee shop and just, absorb, soak what is going on around you, be present, put away your phone and just be present. And then finally, seek help. Get a professional person who can help you. That's important. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, that was me. That was basically that talk. I'm gonna try and just have a look at the chat for the few seconds we have or the minutes that we have. So Herodias says, well said, we must practice acts of kindness to our neighbors. This is very important. I believe so. And she says, it's true. And then Lydia says, wow, Lydia, thank you so much for the beautiful information about mental health and your experience. I'm really inspired. Whoa, you are a hero, my Lydia. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We are learning and getting inspired. I'm happy to hear that. Cholol said, your story is so sad and inspiring, my leader. You are indeed a conqueror. Thank you. You speak so well and calm, leader. This is inspiring. Oh, wow. Thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you so much. Well, guys, I write a lot. I am an oversharer. I write a lot on LinkedIn, for example. If you want to go to LinkedIn, I have a lot of my stories of my challenges and everything that I've gone through. I always write it because it helps me to process stuff. I write. So if you go to my LinkedIn page, it's called Lusia Negonga. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've come to the end of this talk. Thank you for tuning in. You have a blessed day. Thank you. Ciao.
Thank you so much, my leader. We really did learn a lot from your experience, and